Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at the Valaverse's Action Force Figures Series 1 and Series 2. And I've deemed this video to be called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I want everyone to follow along either here, make your comments, post different things, what you found in the line, good and bad, or follow me. I'm not following me, but go to the new group page, Punks with Toys. I will put a link to it in the description. I would love for everyone to join. It's a small community, but we are going to be growing. That is for sure. So anyway, before anyone does start making comments and different things like that, I want you to watch the whole video, because I understand what's going to happen. People see the good, they're automatically going to start saying, you're a shill. You'll like anything that's Valaverse. Someone sees the bad, they're automatically going to be saying, huh, yeah, you know what? You monkey pot. You break it. These figures are great. You don't know what you're doing. And the ugly, well, let's just be honest. When we get to that point, I think most of you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But the reason why I'm going to do this video is because with releasing and just getting the Series 1 figures. Now, I've already reviewed them. Okay, I've already reviewed these figures, but I haven't had them in hand. I actually used the Buddies figures, so I finally got them. But after going through my night ops and the issues that I've had, and many people messaging me on that and the Delta Trooper, and many other people sending me pictures that they had the same thing happen, and not hearing one person on any of the YouTube sites or YouTube videos say anything about, hey, what's going on with this? There's no way I can be the only one that had this problem when I have numerous people sending it to me. Because we know, as I said before, the original reason why I started doing the Action Force figures was because all I heard was they're garbage or they're great. Had to be somewhere in the middle, but nobody wanted to be open and honest about it. So now that so many people are actually ordering from Big Bad Toys that Series 1, which is very, very delicate. All right, Series 2B, I'm sorry, 2A was better, 2B was even better. It was even better than that when it comes to certain things, but there are still a lot of issues to say. So, again, I would love for you to comment either on social media, again, A Punk with Toys, on Instagram and Twitter, and the Facebook group page, Punks with Toys. And again, I will put a link to it. And here, I'd love to hear your comments and hear what you've seen with Action Force. I'm not here to bash them. And that's why I'm going to start with the good. Because let's be honest, if I don't start with the good, the people are going to come at me. And like I said, there are so few people that have been honest about this. I've had numerous people tell me, hey, you know what? Thank you for being honest. Articulated Ninja, he's one of the only other guys that I actually seen do a video that was completely honest. And I'm not, and I'll be honest, I'll be honest, I'll say that word way too much that I get. I don't watch every single YouTuber, but I do watch enough because I want to see what other people are saying. Like, is this just me? Am I the only one that's seeing issues with certain things? But at the same time, there's also quality. So anyway, we're going to start with this video. We're going to get into the good. So let's start with that right now. All right, so let's start with the good of the figures. And we'll reach over here and I'll grab a Condor. All right, and just to start off, they're all pinless joints, double elbow, double knees. They all come with realistic weapons. I can't think that there are any sci-fi weapons. Anyone that does come with a sidearm has a nice holster. They fit in really nice. Don't have to worry about them falling out. They have a realistic looking med pack. And all the good guys and the bad guys, I guess for the most part, have a mostly have a very similar style vest. Here's Condors. He's going to use the same as Steel Brigade. I better not hold him by his head. This guy, not going to show you his face because I have a different head on it. And they all do come off, all right? So for the most part, these figures here do have, oops. So they don't use the ab crunch. They use this style, which I like better, to be honest. So for a figure like Carrie here, he's going to move nicely. All right, so he can have crunch, but also shift side to side. I just think it actually does look more realistic than the ab crunch. And I think the ab crunch one, the ab crunch one looks worse in pictures than in real life. And to be honest, Storm Shadow is the perfect example, because when pictures of Storm Shadow with the ab crunch on the white, it really sticks out. But when you see him in hand, you're like, that's a perfect figure. So the other thing that you gotta love is the amount of hands. I don't want to say that. Is that they give you an option of hands. So one hand is a cupped hand for holding a weapon, and they give you the left and the right. It will give you trigger fingers for the left and the right. And they give you a knife holding hand for left and the right. And then they give you punchy hands for the left and the right. So every figure will come with 8 hands. They give you nice selection of weapons packs. So here's one weapon pack. They've had 4 so far, not including the experimental weapons pack where everything was all black, but they give you a lot of weapons for I think $30. I got that. And on the back, it shows you what weapons are encased in here. And what is really cool about it is you can store it to make it look like it's a display. So I have like 2 of these already displayed downstairs with my figures to make it look like they're kind of stacking ammo. These figures are made, in my opinion, to go with the G.I. Joe Classified or any type of Marvel 6-inch figure. Now, let's be honest, this is a military style, so other than maybe using with some with Marvel Legends, which would probably be more in line with, I guess you would say, Shield Agents, this thing is really meant to go with G.I. Joe. And in all honesty, if I take this beachhead and you stick him in here, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, he fits in perfect. So if you want some of these figures to be backup characters to your Joes, great. Especially considering Condor clearly is airborne. Steel Brigade is Steel Brigade. And you have Sergeant Slaughter, who is Sergeant Slaughter. And for me, one thing that I really like, get Condor to stand, is when I look at the Swarm figures and the Scarab, who are clearly bad guys. They're meant to go together. They will fit in perfect as my Serpentor figures, the henchmen, because I will be using Serpentor differently, because I never liked Serpentor. So he's going to have his own faction. But they do give you a lot of different options along with realistic weapons, which is absolutely wonderful. That is something that was needed in the early line of the G.I. Joe Classified, where we got some really crappy Nerf laser guns. And then they made a correction. So when you're ordering these weapon packs like this, it's wonderful. But all of a sudden I went from struggling to get all my G.I. Joe Classified to have realistic weapons to having an abundance of real world weapons. And the other thing that's really nice about these is the box. It's a smaller footprint. It does have a cross cell. It has a file card that is in 1 language, not the five language like Hasbro uses. So everyone does have a story, which is really cool because that was one of the things back in the day, collecting G.I. Joe, that you had to look at. Like, it was a story. It was being made. Well, here you have it, because if you're not reading the comics and you're collecting these figures, now you can kind of create them into their own subgroup. Or you can just Action Force. Or they can just throw them in with your G.I. Joes and give them their names. They have wonderful artwork on the side. So there's a lot of different things that I gotta say I really do like about these figures. From realistic M4 to nice 203 on it, to a Scar with his grenade launcher. So there's a lot of nice looking weapons, nice feel to them. They have a nice feel, a lot like Classified. Nothing like the Super 7, where they seem really soft, and you go, is this really a $55 figure? So, that's the good. Now it's time to move on. Alright, time for the bad. And unfortunately, it's going to seem like there's a lot more bad, because you kind of got to nitpick some of the things that are going on. So, because I want to address a lot of the people that are buying stuff for the first time from Big Bad Toys, especially Series 1. The first thing that needs to be done with all of Series 1 is they need a hot bath. And when I mean a hot bath, I mean hot tap water. Don't boil your water. Hot tap water. Put them in a bowl. Drop them in for 30, 60 seconds. Then bend them. You're probably going to snap them. All right? And that goes for everything. Moving them around, boot cut, different things like that. You better do that. And if you want to change the hands, you really need to heat it up and pop it off. It's going to be the easiest way, because if not, you're going to end up breaking them. I've broken more than a few. So once you pop it off, then you can get them on all the way. So that's the bad for Series 1. Series 2B is somewhat similar. I'm sorry, 2A is somewhat similar. But 2B, I really didn't have too many issues. 2A, not really too many issues either. So this hopefully has been rectified when he relaunches all these figures. But that was something I wanted to address, because it does seem like that was something that was taken care of. He knew about it. And even though you had so many of the fans, the honks out there, telling you, "Oh no, you did it wrong. You did it wrong." Like, Bobby even put in. Bobby's the owner. Bobby Bell. He even put in. The packing to warm these figures up before you start. So all the people that said, "Hey, you know what? You should know this. You don't have to do that." He even told you to do it. All right, so. Next bad, and I'm going to start with the prototypes, because prototype pack was weapons. All right, so to begin with, this is the prototype grenade launcher. So you can say, "Hey, what's wrong with it?" And I'll grab this grenade launcher. And as you can see, it has a handle. This one doesn't. So you're saying, what did you do? Well, let's say this. When these things first launched, so many people had issues with the stocks breaking on different weapons. Doesn't matter what it was. For something like this, stocks are breaking, knives are breaking, because they're very hard, brittle weapons. That's the plastic they use. Now, I watched this. It fell off by itself. Fell off of a shelf. It landed, and the handle snapped off because it's so brittle. This is the only weapon that I've had break. So there's not going to be too many complaints from me, but I have seen more than enough issues with these handles breaking. Stocks breaking, different things like that. So you got to be careful with that, because it's too hard. Now, I know people are going to say, "Hey, you know what? What, you want the soft stuff like Classified?" No, I don't. I don't want the soft stuff that's warped. But I also don't want the really hard stuff that's going to break. And the perfect mix, to be honest, is the Alley Viper from G.I. Joe Classified. It has two nice weapons that aren't too hard, they're not too soft. There's a bunch of the classified weapons that are like that. There's also a bunch of classified weapons that are super soft and crap, and they're instantly warped. So definitely don't want that. Hands. Now, I mentioned hands earlier, and it's nice to have options. But I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself. And you see, I have 2 hands, which means it's great that you give me 8 hands, lots of options, but eventually, I end up with so many hands that I don't know what to do with. And understand, this is just a small sample size. I still have a few other ones, a few other stuff that's packed in. So I don't need that many hands. It was nice to begin with. Give me a left-handed figure and then a right-handed figure. I don't need all these. And not to mention, if you're not putting them back in the pack, good luck trying to figure out, because, you know, this hand is the exact same hand as, you know, as this one. So there's going to be a slight color change. And some of them are so slight that you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Good luck. Also, you need to warm these hands up, or else you're going to break them. I've had 2 break on me. It wasn't rough with them. They snapped right off. But if you heat it up, and I prefer using the the bathing method over the blow dryer. Just to me, it's just easier. It soaks everything. You don't have to worry about overheating something. But you definitely want to watch out, because these things will snap right off. The other thing is, when plugging it in, if you look here, you can see where the rivets are. If it's not heated up, this thing has to plug in perfect, or else the hand sticks out and he looks awkward because his hand isn't in properly. But the way that it pushes into it's completely flushed. If you don't do that, it's going to look really odd. And originally, I was actually snipping this, thinking that this was just too long, and well, I was wrong. All right. Another issue that I have is that the issue with the Scarab right off the bat. Now, I do feel bad for anyone that is ordering from Big Bad Toys or somewhere else, because we all had issues with, not we all, a lot of us had issues. And this was one of the issues that I had, one of the figures I had an issue with, that it just crumbled right off. This leg just came right off. Now, here's a picture of it. Now, that was when I just opened up the figure. It literally just crumbled. But of course, I had people yelling at me, saying you need to heat it up. I didn't even have a chance to heat it up. And this was such a widespread issue that Valaverse sent out replacement hips. Or you could have sent the figure back, they would pay for it, they'd fix it for you and ship it out. But hey, you know what? These figures are made to be modular, so you can swap them in and out. Another bad that I have is the vests. Now, once you pop the vests off, good luck getting them on. Now, this was addressed in Series 1, and I heard, hey, you know what? It's all taken care of. That's not true, because I can't get that one back on. This is Series 2. Now, frankly, I understand there can be issues, but that is too many. Like, too many people having to fight with those to get them on. Some of them maybe go on a little bit easier. But I can tell you with this one here, and this came from Sergeant Slaughter, I had to fight with it to get it on. So I wanted to get it on Beachhead. You're almost better off heating up your figures, pulling them apart, and then taking it off. So you got to watch out. I don't believe that's been addressed. It says it was, but I don't believe it has. So now we're going to address my other problem, and this is bad in my opinion, And that is all the troop builders that they have. And the reason for that is they tell you that it's a $22 figure. And it is. And the first figure is now, as you can see, I'm popping this off. I'm going to regret it, but I'm going to do it anyway so I can show something. So, I'll pop the head off. We'll address the head in a minute. So, the one thing about these figures that nobody wants to address is that there's only 3 different bucks, which that is 3 different bodies. You have this body. You have the Carrig body, which has a wife beater. And then you have the Swarm Scarab body, which they're using as their bad guys. So, when you order those troop builders, you're getting this figure minus the side pieces, 2 heads like this. I'm not going to try and get on because it does go to him. All right. Black and a white figure. Black and white face. And the same body for $22. Now, the first 3 that came in Series 1 didn't even have weapons. It came with a stand, which you don't really need. And it came with the hands. So many hands. But no weapons. Now, they had the weapons pack, but they also came with accessory packs. So a figure was $22. The accessory pack to go with that figure is $13. Now, by doing the math, that puts your figure at, let's see, $32, $35. So to get a basic troop builder, right, it's going to cost you $35 if you want him actually assembled. Now, I don't think that's a really good price. It's great that you're giving us an option for a figure that's bone dry, but what does that do? So you look at the Delta figure, and here's the Delta figure here, right? Looks cool, and it does come with a sidearm now. They added that. And here's his pack right here. Well, to get the Delta Trooper, which should be 1 trooper, it should be $32. You're charging me $22 for 1 figure, $13 for the pack. So if you really want, you can go to Entertainment Earth and get their exclusive right here and go, oh wow, what do you know? That has everything for $32. It doesn't make a lot of sense other than you're kind of reaching, and it's great that you're offering these packs and it's great that you're offering a figure, but instead of saying, hey, to have a fully loaded figure, a fully loaded troop builder, you're going to have to spend $35 on it, you just offer one for $32 fully loaded. I have an issue with that because it's the same buck. Every single one uses the same buck. And then I'll add on to that really quick. They either have this arm, the short arm, okay, which again, if you look at it, you can see what's the same, what's different. The bare arm. And then now you also have a short-sleeved figure. Now, before anyone says anything, and I know someone will, understand this. I understand why you're using pretty much one body. Hasbro and G.I. Joe does the same thing. Cobra Trooper, Beachhead, Major Blood. I'm trying to think who else is. There's a bunch of them. They use almost the exact same. Snake Eyes, Commando Snake Eyes. They almost use all the same. It's the overlay that makes them look different. And they do a pretty good job here. But a lot of these are the exact same vests. So you start to say, that's the exact same figure. That's one of the reasons why they're able to push out so many. is because you're getting the exact same figure. All right. My next issue, and this is something that I literally had someone, and here's a picture of what I'm talking about. And here's a picture of how it looks on Valaverse. And that is right here. You see the way this hangs over? It prevents you from getting a T-pose. And I don't care what anyone says. You cannot get a T-pose normally out of these figures. So if you want to get to a T-pose, you have to twist the shoulder and then move it. And now you're just completely off. You've made your figure look awkward. And before someone says anything, I can take this beachhead and get him right to where he needs to be. Because he doesn't have the shoulder that hangs over. And without that, it's not a problem. I actually think that this here looks awful. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you a trigger. So when I look at the figure here, I have a big gap. Well, that's not how my shoulders look. I understand these are actual action figures, but you didn't need to make it hang over. But again, it impedes going up to a T-pose, unless if I completely twist my shoulder, and that's not natural, because I can lift mine all the way up. We all can. Well, not all of us. John McCain couldn't. All right, and now I think this is going to be my last bad point. And this is actually the biggest point that I'm having right now. And now we come to the night ops. And during the video, and I'll put a link to it, his neck came right out. Now, I had people say, you can't monkey paw this. You got to heat these up. The fact is, he was split from the beginning. Now, I understand stuff happens. And had no one even said anything about it, and I heard one other person send me a message, say anything, I would have chalked it up to one defective. But I've been hit up by at least four to five people that have said exact same thing happened. And I've also had people say the Delta Trooper does the exact same thing. Now, the video someone made, hey, you know what? 95% of these figures are perfectly fine. Someone told me I monkey paw it. But the 95% really stuck out, because all I know is that I've reviewed 13 figures. 2 of them have been defective out of the box. That's like an 84% clip. That's not 95%. I had someone message me saying I had the exact same thing happen with my Steel Brigade. About 4 of them, one of them was like that. No math major, that's 75% clip. And then I had another person message me about the Delta Trooper. Said I got 2 Delta Troopers, one of them did it. That's a 50% clip. Now my issue is that I did contact Valaverse, and he said, hey, you know, you got to contact the BBTS because that's where you bought it from. I'm fine with that. But the issue was I watched other videos. And I wanted to see if anyone else had this issue. And now one other person seemed to have addressed this. And I could have chalked it up to just me having the issue until I started getting pictures sent to me, messages sent to me that, hey, I had the exact same thing happen. Hey, I'm contacting BBTS tomorrow. Wish me luck. And my issue is that I'm seeing no one else talk about it. And that tells me that if no one else is contacting the owner, well, I don't want to say the owner, but the owner and the company, how are they going to resolve this? Because if it was just this figure that someone was telling me about, that might be one thing. But the fact that it uses the same buck that the Delta Trooper does, that kind of tells me, hey, we got a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Is it going to be addressed, though? That I have no idea, because no one wants to say anything. People want to say that you didn't heat the figure out. I didn't need to heat the figure out. His neck literally popped right out. You know, you could see that it wasn't glued properly. And the people that contacted me are well known in the community. Like, I see them posting all the time. These are guys that have a bunch of figures. So it truly comes down to the fact that someone else needs to be also contacting. If you have this issue, you need to contact the owner. You need to contact Valaverse directly and say, hey, we're having this issue. I hope it's going to get addressed. Now, BBTS, they refunded my money, said I could buy another trooper or buy another figure. I didn't want to do it. I was able to get the head back into place, the neck, because it wasn't the head, it's the neck that popped out. I take it out again, but it's a pain to get back in. So you can see in the video, again, I'll post a link to it. That's an issue. I hope that these are being addressed, because these are big issues to be honest. So I'm gonna wrap it up. That's the bad. All right. So I know I rambled on for quite some time on the bad, and that's because you're nitpicking points. And anytime you do a good and bad, you're always gonna find more stuff to pick. I think the majority of the bad are smaller. I really do. Because I wouldn't be spending this much money on figures if I thought they were bad. All right, so now it's time to get to the final part of the video. The ugly. Now, this is a personal opinion that I'm going to start with the first part of the ugly. And that is the early face sculpts are ugly. They are overpainted. They are overdone. And I will show you what I mean by, like Condor, the face, the head is nice. There's too many paint apps on it. Now quickly, this here is how the prototype looked. And one of the biggest issues with the prototype is I think it looks better. It's softer. There's not as much. Now, that's personal opinion. And I do believe that it's been addressed. Now, I will show you here. Here's the rollout. And you can see, to me, there's just too many paint apps. The face and the mold looks fine, but it looks ugly. And here, I actually use a Shield Agent's head on a rollout, and I think it looks 10 times better. I'll say it again, less is more sometimes. But when you do look at like this Desert Rat figure, I feel like they've toned down on it. I really hope they do, because it's just something I think that's ugly. That I just wanted to address to say ugly. But let's get to the truly ugly part of this line. And that is the shows. There's the YouTubers, there's the people on Facebook that will completely come after you, that will tell you that there's absolutely nothing wrong with this line. That this line is 99% perfect. That Hasbro is garbage. What Hasbro does is trash. And God forbid you say something negative, or shall I say, truthful about something, aka the Night Ops figure, your Swarm Trooper's leg breaking, the gun breaking, the hand breaking, saying that I don't think I should have to heat these figures up. They will come after you in swarms. It's so bad that, you know, some of the guys that do YouTube channels will literally do a video talking about how wonderful the line is. And we'll also do a video bad-mouthing Hasbro and what they actually sent them for free. I don't understand that. But they do it. And it's become an ugly community. And unfortunately, that really drives a lot of people away from this Action Force line. I really do believe that the owner has calmed down on some of the things he said. Now, I love that when the owner, Bobby, talks honestly about stuff in the industry. I love it. But if I was a CEO of a company, I wouldn't be saying everything that I do. Because there are insider things that you shouldn't be addressing. And when you address things in a certain way, you come off as kind of bitter. Now, I think he's toned down on that. But a lot of the people that he has aligned himself with are the exact opposite. Now, I guarantee you that in these comments, there will be people that bash me. They won't watch the whole video. No one sent me any of these figures. $32 a figure. I have 13 figures here. You can do the math. I've ordered the female wave. I'll be ordering some of the special deployment figures. It's a lot of money that I've spent on my own dime. No one's sending this to me. So if you think that I'm going to spend that much money on figures just to bash them, well, then you're quite mistaken. I don't have that much disposable income. But the truth is, the ugly truth of the Valaverse Action Force line is the community and the people that will jump on anyone that doesn't say everything positive. Conversely, you're going to have those people that are going to tell me I'm a shill and that everything that I said that Valaverse is perfect, because they won't actually watch the video. They'll say, God, it doesn't matter. Hasbro's this much better. Like, you didn't listen to the whole damn video. You listened to a damn word that I said. I told you what's good about it. I originally did videos reviewing these figures. I borrowed someone's. And that was my deciding factor whether or not I should jump into the line. And I chose to, because I see upside. But the ugly is just so ugly that it's awful. There were YouTubers that I actually used to enjoy doing reviews. And then I watched them start doing Valaverse reviews, the Action Force line. And they couldn't say one negative thing about them. And I don't want someone to be negative to find something negative. But when I'm seeing other people having these issues, you can't tell me that I'm the only YouTuber that's buying these figures that has an issue. I take that back. I know there's others. Articulated Ninja is one that I have seen where he's been very honest about it. And you know what happened to Articulated Ninja when he did a video on one of the troopers? They swarmed him. 95% of his video was honest and positive. But then he says one negative thing and they just jump on him. And I don't understand it. I take it back. I fully understand it. And it's because you don't have a CEO of Hasbro, of Super 7, of NECA in the community telling you little secrets of every other company. Where Valaverse, his CEO, is doing that. He tells you little secrets. He tells you little things. And I love it. As a consumer and YouTuber, I love it. As an owner, I wouldn't like it. And before someone says Brian Flynn does it, yeah, I don't believe a damn word Brian Flynn says, because that guy's full of shit. Anyway, I ain't going down that path right now. But anyway, so that was the address of the ugly. Now, I know I rambled on for quite some time. I hope by the name of the video you could see that it was going to be a fairly long video. I hope people step through it. And I really do want to hear your comments. I don't want to see people just bashing it to bash it. And I don't want to hear people loving it to love it. And I don't want to see the people that are bashing me just to bash me because they didn't bother actually watching the video. But that's the long form of this. You have the good. Figures are wonderful. For the most part, no one's perfect. Not one figure is perfect. Bad, a bunch of little itty-bitty bad things, but enough that compiles up that a small company really needs to have their quality control checked a little bit better than what they are. And then the ugly, which is something that has started, and I don't know how it can stop, because there is a lot of ugly going on. And it's part of why it makes me almost want to get out of the line, because some people are just so, you just kind of want to throw your hands up and go, you know what, I'm done with this line. But I'm holding on that things will get better. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, as I've gone on for, I think this will be my longest video. I do hope you guys watched it. I'd love to hear a comment. Again, social media, Punk with Toys, on Instagram and Twitter. And again, the Facebook, man, I've gone on too long. The Facebook group is Punks with Toys. And believe me, if you just join to hop on and bash and say this, and so we know who you are. I mean, it won't take us long. I want to have an open discussion. Talk about it. We don't need to be vile towards each other. I know a lot of people want to do it, and that's fine. There's enough Facebook groups and channels to do that. And that's cool, because not saying I've never not been part of one of those, but hey, that's not what I'm looking to do here. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Subscribe to the channel. Here's a video that's going to pop up. I finally figured out how to do that. Yeah, subscribe, click this video, all kinds of things. You know how to do this. Okay, anyway, so you know what it is. All right, Instagram, Twitter, A Punk with Toys, Facebook group, Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a punk with toys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I'm done. It's too late. I'm done. Anyway, I want to have a wonderful night. And once again, happy toy hunting.